So it is no secret that we're all paying more to put food on the table. Inflation numbers that came out yesterday show that grocery prices in May rose 9.1% year over year. And this week on the program, earlier in the week, we were having a discussion about shoplifting at grocery stores. And I got a note from a listener, and they told me, Elias, you should tell your listeners about an app called Too Good To Go. And then I mentioned a couple of other apps that are right now out there helping you save money on food, whether it's at the grocery store or at local restaurants and markets. So we're going to take some time here to help you keep your costs down when it comes to food. With more on this, we go to Sarah Soteroff from the app Too Good To Go. Sarah, welcome to the program.
Hi, thank you for having me.
I've got over 300 apps on my phone, on my iPhone, and I tell our listeners all the time, some of them are amazed. One of the apps that I do have on my phone is your app, Too Good To Go. I have used it, and it's a very interesting and unique way to help people save money on food. Why don't you tell our listeners what Too Good To Go aims to do?
Well, thank you so much for being an app user. We did launch in Montreal almost 2 years ago now, so we are coming up on some big milestones. We connect businesses who have surplus food with consumers who want to purchase that food at a discount. Typically, everything sold on the app is about 1/3 of what you would pay for the normal retail cost. So you're getting a great deal on food that is perfectly good to eat, just didn't sell throughout the course of business. And the businesses are making back some of that revenue that they would otherwise lose by having to throw away that food at the end of the day. If you think of everything from chocolate bars to croissants to leftover meals, prepared foods at the grocery store, everything that can be eaten that is edible can be sold on our app. So we are now really proud across Quebec to have almost 2,000 partners in these last 2 years, and we have saved nearly 400,000 meals from going to waste, which is a really tremendous milestone.
And who is using the app? So I'll tell you, Sarah, when I was single, I used the app. Now I'm in a relationship, I don't use the app anymore. So I'm wondering about demographics here. Who's using Too Good To Go?
It's a great question, and my answer is everybody. I use the app. I pick up bags when I want to go grocery shopping. It's a really great way to supplement what would normally be if I'm grocery shopping, say, like 4 times a month. I'll pick up at least one bag of grocery items that month and then build on what I've gotten in my surprise bag and then purchase things at the grocery store for full price. It's also a great thing for parents if you're thinking, too, if you want to introduce your kids to different kinds of foods and develop non-picky eaters. You can pick up some bags of cookies and croissants and pantry items. We have a ton of partners across the province. We partnered with Metro, 7-Eleven, Tim Hortons. It's a great treat to be able to get your kids some donuts and some Timbits. And, you don't want to probably do that on an everyday basis, but it is a nice little way to be able to bring that into your normal food items that you're purchasing at regular price. But then it's also people who are looking to try out new restaurants. So you might be looking for a deal. You might be looking to try out a new restaurant. You might want to support a local business. It's literally everybody from students who are looking for a deal to, people, even my parents' age in their late 60s, who are just like pretty not picky about what they eat and want to try out great food and get things at a lower cost. So it's honestly available for everybody. Everyone's motivations are different. I think the important thing is people are being more conscious about their waste and looking for solutions that are workable, that are not going to cause them a ton of extra income to spend on things and also not require them to go super out of their way to pick up food.
So just I'm scrolling through the app right now, and before you'd mentioned basically these stores, restaurants, bakeries and the like, they're selling things for about 1/3 of the cost that it would be if you paid full price, right? So I'm looking at one bakery, they're offering, a $15 surprise basket for $5. I also have a Middle Eastern restaurant. They're offering what they say is $24 worth of food at $8. Does Too Good To Go verify that value proposition? Do we just take the restaurant's word for it? How do we decipher just how good of a deal we're getting on the app?
Yeah, really good point, and thanks for highlighting. So basically, when you're on the app, you'll see the regular retail price, what it would have been full price, and then you'll see the value that you're paying. So all that you get charged for as the consumer is that bolded price of what you're paying. And we do rely on our partners to be able to verify that they're putting in high value. It's in their best interest to make sure that the bags are high quality and high value, because we do, and if consumers get something that they don't believe is meeting that value, we encourage them, please right into us. You can get a refund if you don't think that the value is what it should be. We'll also then work with our partners to ensure that what they're putting in there is items that are perfectly consumable and of that value. We don't want them getting negative reviews, but the consumer definitely has power there to be able to put their reviews in. They can give some feedback in terms of what was actually itemized within the bag. So that helps for future consumers to have more visibility into that. And then really to try and think too about, sometimes you'll think about, oh my God, I only got 5 croissants out of this, but each of those croissants might have been $4. And so the business is really trying to make sure that they're able to make it profitable for them, but that there's also value for the consumer so that they have repeat consumers, because we definitely want people purchasing bags frequently on an everyday basis, and they're not going to do that if they don't have a good experience.
Are you seeing user growth that's in line with what we hear about just how the difficulties Canadians are having with feeding themselves, feeding their family right now?
Yeah, you highlighted the inflation numbers. I think we're at 9% food inflation, even though overall inflation in the country is down around 2.3%. So there is a huge disparity on what people are paying, what they're seeing for their increase in grocery prices, increase in food prices. We see it across the board. I've noticed a huge notice of those prices going up and looking for solutions. We launched, as I said, about 2 years ago, so we were at kind of the height of the pandemic, and I think people's purchase patterns were a little bit out of whack. We are seeing that normalize a little bit more now, and yet there is still a desire and a need for people to take that into their own hands and lower costs where they can. Canadians waste on average $2,000 a year on food that they throw out, so that's half of an avocado or whatever's left over in a head of lettuce, and those things really do add up. So in addition to buying food on our app, which we love to see and encourage people to do, we also want people to think more consciously about the food waste that they have at home. So thinking about remixing some of your leftovers into new food items, making something new from scratch that you have in your pantry instead of buying new items at the grocery store, or buying a bag on our app and then using it to create a new meal out of that from things that you have at home. So I think the awareness of surplus food waste is really getting to be a little bit more front and center, and finding solutions, creative solutions for those things, using our app as one of a mix of different things that you're doing at home as well.
Sarah, a real pleasure talking to you and getting some more info on the app. And I want to thank you for coming on this morning.
Thank you so much. Keep using it.
Thank you. That's Sarah Soteroff from the app Too Good To Go.